Hi everyone, welcome to Vendor Risk Management video series, part 10. In this video, we'll talk about vendor portal. Now to see what portals are there in the platform, I go to a table called sp_portal and you can see all of them. Now here there is a portal called vendor portal scoped. So this is scoped because the previous versions of this portal were uh, yeah, where not scoped. That's where this one is specifically called scoped. And even if you say URL suffix, it is SVTP, which is scoped vendor portal. Now let's look at this application GRC Vendor Risk Management 15.0.7 and see what is installed as part of this. I'm just gonna minimize all of this. So if you see the properties here, there should be a property called sn_vdr_risk_ASMT dot vendor portal endpoint. So this is the endpoint which tells us to which portal the user will log in or will be using. So the default is to use the new vendor portal SVDP, the new scoped portal, and the VDP is the old version. So you can using this you can decide like which you can control like which portal should be used. And the role and everything is SN_GRC reader for read roles. Now let's come to the service portal section. So if you see here, you can see that all these portal pages. Okay, let's expand this. Yeah, so you can see that these portal pages are available, and it has all the script includes and widget dependencies and so on. These are all the portal pages. So if you see here, vendor risk overview page, vendor risk engagement page, is a part of it. At the same time, so this portal itself, vendor portal. So this is part of GRC vendor portal application. So let's open that. But basically these components are part of this application scope, but the portal itself has its own application scope. So let's find that GRC dot vendor. Okay, let's search for the exact name. Okay, so it's not part of this. So okay, we can switch the application here and yeah, deep dive. So I've switched it here, minimize this. Again, look for portal. Yeah, so you can see that this is the portal. And it opens up sp_config with page as portal edit, and then it will take you to the sp_portal table. As you can see here, the home page is svdp_home, the URL and so on. The login page is svdp_login. You can upload your image and theme, and this is all your CSS. So if you see here the layout of this portal, so this is the theme, the header menu, which has all these options like knowledge, catalog, requests, approvals, system status, my favorites, and GRC. So here I'm logged in as a primary contact for a vendor called Warren Electric, and I'm opening this portal SVDP, and it will take you to svdp_home, which is the home page, which has assessments, issues, tasks, FAQ, all this information. And then you have this my company, primary contacts for the company, and then assessments, issues, and tasks. Now I have logged in as a user who was the vendor contact for this work faster. And you can see there are two primary contacts, Alex and Shruti. Now, if you go to my activities, there's nothing assigned to this user, but if you go to all activities, I can see assessments, issues, and tasks. And you'll see that there is overdue count and due soon, and same applies to issue and tasks. Now there are 9 engagements which are available for this. Uh, yeah, and click on show all, then you can see all of them. So this is assessment summary and this is engagement summary. Uh, so next we'll see how to add primary contacts. If you see on the right side, there's a widget called My Company. Under that, primary contacts is a section. Now these are all the contacts for a vendor. Now because I'm a primary contact myself, which is Shruti Varan, I can deselect or select any of these contacts as primary contacts. For example, I can remove Alex as primary contact. I can also try to remove myself as a primary contact, in which case you'll get a message, are you sure you want to remove yourself as primary contact? Yes or no. And similarly, so you have those many options available like my profile, change password, logout, and manage team. So if you click on manage team, you have the ability to uh, do following things like you can invite a contact or you can add engagements for contact, sorry, engagement contacts for a specific engagement. So for example, yeah, so as you can see here, if I go to my team under this menu option, I'll see all contacts and there's a primary text next to the primary contact and primary and invited. So it basically sends an email invitation whenever a, a primary a contact is invited to the platform. So that's what the invited means. And when you click on invite contact, the primary contact has an ability to create a new contact. Now, primary contact can also assign contacts to an engagement. So for this vendor, let's say this vendor participates in following engagements or provides following services, which are classified as engagements, like cloud hosting, managed app services, and so on. Or he's doing all these projects for this customer. Let's select cloud hosting. Here we have an option to add any of these contacts to the as engagement contact. For example, I can add Janil or I can add Kevin as a contact, right? Uh, So it's adding them, but this is how you can do it. And again, you have this assessment summary that comes up at the bottom uh, as a widget, and that's how it looks like. And you see the engagement. So basically, this section remains the same. It's just that the top section kind of changes. And this page is svdp underscore team. So let's look at that in the configuration. So if you see here in service portal pages, there's a page called our team. So when you click on that, it opens up here. And this is a team, the page structure. So it has 2 containers and basically all contacts and all of that. So if you go to all contacts, which is the left side you have seen, and it has this basically a contact list. That's the widget that's showing up. And if you go to the widget itself, you can see what is the definition. Right? So, yeah, so I mean that's how you can deep dive to understand what is under the hood. So as you can see here, uh, it basically is trying to okay, let's go through this a little bit. So this is HTML, so you don't have to worry much about that. But we'll look at the server-side script and client controller. So in server-side, assign to engagement is one action which is added, and then set vendor role is one more action. So here there's an option to make a vendor as primary or not, vendor contact as primary or not, and then assign to engagement. If you assign a vendor to an contact to an engagement, then this action gets called, right? And And then the URL is defined here, where it is passing the company and all that in the query. And in the client controller, you can see like different methods like engagement change, user can write, and so on. Yeah. So as you can see here, this is the widget we have seen in the designer view. Right now, let's go here, click on add, and that should add that there. But basically, that's how this functionality works. Now let's look at some assessments. If you go to assessments and uh, now let's look at the assessment information right and deep dive here. So there are 8 assessments. Let's click on that. So you can see 8 are open, 6 are closed. Now, so vendor assessment list, this is the name of the widget. If you click on this here, it opens up the assessment record. So in the URL, it will say ID is equal to svdp underscore assessment underscore detail, and then this is header of that record. You can also see the .walk like home, and then this is the assessment details. So if you see here, this is the request, which is demonstrate. This is a questionnaire, request of type questionnaire. It has one issue under that, and there is one task for that. So you can see this information here. And if you want to see issues and tasks for an assessment, then this is how you can see it. If you go back here, so this is showing the assessments at the engagement level. As you can see, Broadcom staff outsourcing engagement, and under this you can see that. So basically, the assessment we have seen is a assessment tagged to the engagement. If I go back to assessments again, and let's look at this one. So this one is a vendor assessment. That's where you see vendor is the breadcrumb, and it has one request, which is business resiliency. And if you open that, it should take you to the assessment itself. Okay, yeah, yeah. So basically, if you click on this, it's taking you to the actual question page, which is yeah, which is not the best navigation, I would say, but yeah. Anyway, so basically here you can see that you can navigate to the assessment from this assessments, and now depending on whether the assessment is for engagement or for the vendor, it takes you to the corresponding breadcrumb. And we also saw that if there is any issue or task for that assessment, you can see them here in the related lists like this. And now if you see here, there are different engagements available, right? And there's an option to also add primary context to the engagement from here. So it directly adds it. So previously you have seen that you can go to an engagement record and do it by clicking on it, but you can also do it directly from here. And now if I click on cloud hosting, let's pick up something which has an assessment. Show all. Okay, let's do this. Assessment. So when you click on it, it says assessment submitted to ServiceNow. Now, let's look at this page in the designer, right? SVDP underscore assessment underscore detail. So which is this one here. So as you can see, assessment detail, and so this is the page we have, this is the widget we have seen. It is part of this page. So And if you scroll down, so this is the definition of the page, right? So now once you submit the assessment, it displays a message called submitted to, and that is dynamically being passed through a variable called company name. So if you scroll down, go to client controller, look for data here. So it's coming from here, company, and then the parameter that is retrieving this is sn underscore vdr underscore risk underscore asmt dot company dot name. So whatever is defined here, that will be used to populate that. So what that means is, so here it says submitted to ServiceNow. So if you want to change this, then you have to change the property. So if you go here and look for the property, I'll say first I have to switch the application scope. So GRC vendor risk management, and refresh this page. Give it a minute to load. Okay, now my scope is switched, so I'm going to change this value to so now and update it. So once I update that, and if I come back to this assessment record, I can see that it is submitted to this company I have given there. Yeah. So if you see here, now I'm trying to update an assessment. So what I've done is, no, it's a, the way it behaves is a little funny. If you see here, right? If I remove myself as the uh, assignee for this, assignees for business resilience request have been saved. Now, if you click on this, it takes you to some page. So last time when I clicked on it, it was actually taking me to the, the definition of the question. But yeah, but it's supposed to take you here. So basically, which is the business resiliency. And in the sections, you'll see demo category as a section, and then you have all those questionnaire. Yeah, but then because this is not assigned to me, I cannot update it, right? But I can still see it. Now if I come back here, if I assign this to myself, just go here, add myself as the assignee, and I should get that pop-up. Yeah, and now it's assigned. So now if I click on this, it should let me update this assessment. So I have saved, draft, and exit. Answer the questions. And so now I have answered all the questions, so it is showing as complete. But if any of these questions are not answered, then it should show as incomplete. Right? Okay, and I can save as draft, and I exit. Now it will process it, and you have answered all the questions. Now you can submit the assessment. So that's how you can do that. Now I want to try a SIG risk assessment, so I will reopen one of these assessments and change the state to, let me see. Yeah, so I have reopened this now. I'm going to save this and see if it comes up in the portal. So let me go back here, and so if I go here, I can see that this is available now here. I'll open this and I'll assign it. Okay, it's already answered. So let me open one of them. SIG Core 2020. So because it is not assigned to this user, they can see what is submitted, but they cannot actually modify it. So you can see that here Excel sheet is imported. So SIG Core 2020 complete. So let's download this and see what is there in this template or in this imported file. And you also have a link to see SIG glossary. So if you click on that, it should take you to sharedassessments.org and the glossary of terms, so which is all here. Now, if you see here, this is how this template looks like. You have all these question numbers starting from A1, A1.1, and so on and so forth, and then all the way till V 6.3.1. So let's look at some examples. For example, let's say A1. Let's see how it translates in the platform, like or in the portal. So the first question, A1 says, is there a formalized risk governance plan that defines enterprise risk management program requirements? It's a yes here. And then now let's see how it appears in the spreadsheet. So if you see here, is there a formalized risk governance plan that defines enterprise risk management program requirements? The response is yes. And then the category is enterprise risk management and subcategory is risk governance plan. So I don't see subcategory here. I only see category. So that's that. Let's go to the next one, 1.1. Does this risk governance plan include risk management policies, procedures, and internal controls? Answer is yes. Yeah, and this matches this. So that's how this. So now this Excel sheet has a lot of tabs in it, but SIG 2020 is the tab which is used to populate that uh, responses in the portal. So if you see here, this is yeah. So basically, the imported spreadsheet out of that SIG Core 2020 is used to populate these responses. So SIG stands for Standardized Information Gathering, and it comes with different versions. So light, full, and core. So this one is a core version of it. And depending on the vendor, uh, the, the the corresponding version of SIG is requested from that vendor. That's about this. Uh, we'll also see like how this Excel is being imported and translated into this questionnaire. So we'll see that in a minute. So the page we are right now on is SVDP underscore questions. So I'll go to that page. So this is the page here, questions, SVDP underscore questions. As you can see here, there is a widget called SVDP SIG upload. So let's go there. So here, if you see, this is the widget, and then there is a message called attached files must be smaller than 24 MB. So you can define that through a system property as well. Oh no, sorry, it's basically defined here, like hard coded here. Yeah, it's just 24 MB. And see what happens here. So once you attach it, it should give you a message called importing data from the attachment name, and all of that. Uh, and then as I mentioned, so it will use the tab within the spreadsheet because as I mentioned, it has various tabs, and then the header row information, that's all done here. And then we have this sheet number, classification, header row, all of that coming from here. And then that data year is also coming through an attribute, right? So it also gives you an option to clear answers and option to delete and so on. And then finally, there is a place where it is actually parsing the response, which is done as part of this method here, sn underscore sig underscore smt dot sig template processor. So let's look at that. So if you see here, there are two script includes, the base version and this one. So let's open this. Again, as we know, the rule, we should not customize the base version. There's an extension of that. So, and the definition should be in the base version. So let's go there. Let's also switch the application scope so we can actually see GRC SIG questionnaire integration. And let's open the base version. So this is the scripting tool which is actually doing the work of reading the spreadsheet and then building that assessment instance and all of that. So if you see here, the table names, the metric category, all of that. And there is a minimum supported version. As I mentioned, there are like three types of SIG. One is light, full, and core. And there is a minimum version which is defined. So when you are uploading it, it will first check if it is at least that minimum version, otherwise it will get a message. And these are different functions which are available, which basically are doing all the mapping between response to a question and so on and so forth. So essentially, this is the place where it is doing that glide record and then it is doing all that mapping. If I keep going, I can see that there are a few more functions which are available. But basically, if you want to understand, or if you want to debug any of these issues with the attachment and how it is getting mapped to the assessment instance, then this is the script include that you will start with. And if you see here some more details, like if you want to check which are the mandatory questions which are not answered, then this is the server-side script which is doing that validation. And then similarly, let's see what else is there here. So basically that covers SIG core assessment and how you can import it through an Excel sheet. We have seen the Excel template, and we have seen a script include that is doing the work of mapping this Excel Excel rows into the or Excel values into the questionnaire responses. So I think that pretty much covers what is in scope of portal. Thank you for watching.